This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. This is an ongoing show where we talk a little bit about everyone's favorite MOBA-style battle game. We have some interesting stuff for you guys to look over this week. We, of course, have Lucian. We finally got his skills, the Purifier. Now some interesting elements that we can take a look at. Master Yi also got reworked this latest patch, which, of course, did come in this latest patch that deployed. I believe it's 3.9?
3.9, I think. 3.9.
3.9. Along with that, we have a lot, just a whole bunch of red posts regarding upcoming information, changes, and more. And then we have some cute new bundles that have been added to the store, or that will be added to the store very soon. First things first, the thing you guys are probably all interested in is we have Lucian Skills. So we're going to go to those real quick. The first one is his passive, of course. After using one of his abilities, Lucian's next auto attack will shoot twice. The second shot deals reduced damage. His first ability is called Piercing Light. He fires a bolt through a target, and it deals damage to enemies in a line. This deals half damage to minions and monsters. Next ability is Ardent Blaze. Fires a shot that explodes in a star pattern and marks targets. Shooting the marked target will deal extra damage and grants Lucian a burst of speed. And finally, he has Relentless Pursuit. Lucian will dash a short distance and remove all slow debuffs, and its cooldown is reset if his ultimate, the Culling, kills an enemy champion. His final ability, his ultimate, is the Culling. Lucian will move freely while firing rapidly in a single direction. This will deal damage to the first enemy hit in a line. Lucian can cast Relentless Pursuit while shooting. The interesting thing about this ability is that it scales on attack speed.
Yes, this is something we talked about with the Master Yi update, where Master Yi was one of the first champions to scale off.
Well, they thought they were going to have Alpha Strike scale off of attack speed. Eventually, they decided not to go with that.
But Lucian got it.
But Lucian did get this with the Culling. So this is something we were really, really interested in, and I really hope it works with this champion, because attack speed's one of those stats where it's like, okay, I can build flat AD, and I can do really, really well with that.
I can hit hard.
Yeah. I can build crit, or I can build lifesteal, and I can really see effects from this. Attack speed is one of those stats where there are a lot of ways to knock down attack speed.
Yeah.
You've got Frozen
Heart,
Frozen Shroud. You got Rabadons, or not Rabadons, but Warden's Mail.
Yeah.
And you got like characters like Malphite, Darius. Well, Darius used to, but there's a lot of ways to slow attack speed. There's not a whole lot of crit mitigation. There's not a whole lot of lifesteal mitigation. And there's not a whole lot of flat AD mitigation. So attack speed's been kind of one of those stats where it's like,
And what's interesting about this is it's not going directly to his auto attack. It's increasing the length of the Culling, which is very, very cool.
Letting you get more shots off.
Yeah, so you're just kind of pop, 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 pop. And I'm okay with that. The whole effect of the Culling seems like when you activate your ult and pick the direction, you kind of go into this, top-down shooter arcade game things where you're moving up and down trying to knock things over, and the Culling actually deals more damage to minions. So you clear through a minion wave, and you're just like, I'm just gonna...
So it's like a turbo Misfortune ult.
Yes, but where Misfortune kind of gets a cone, he's more focus-fired, and the shots are more single target.
You're playing Galaga.
You're playing Galaga. And that's what the fun part is, like, oh, that's kind of nifty, that's neat.
The thing I like is that you can use Relentless Pursuit, his dash, while doing it. And in Relentless Pursuit refreshes if you kill someone. So you can go bang, 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 dash, bang, bang, you're dead, dash again. So you just power sliding across the map. I really like his passive, though. His auto attack gives him that extra, half damage boost. So it's basically every time you use an auto attack, you get a headshot proc.
Or kind of like Lulu's passive, where she has the double auto attack. But that's still really cool. I like the idea of it. Piercing Light is way too much like a Xerath's Q, though, I feel. It's an AD version of it.
Well, except Xerath. I mean, Xerath does full damage, and his has to do half damage to creeps, so it's not that big of a farming tool. It's kind of similar to the way the Garen's spin works, Judgment, is that it does reduce damage to creeps just so they can prevent it from being a turbo farm tool. But at the same time, they wanted you to encourage harass with it. But still, I mean, there's all kinds of ways for ranged AD to farm minions now, especially with Static Shiv out there and Frozen Fist.
Finally, Ardent Blaze. I'm surprised we didn't talk about this. It's a star-shaped AoE. Very interesting. kind of like a compass on a map. So, I don't know. That could be potential for some poke, but it depends. Is it static to north, south, east, and west, or does it kind of turn depending on where the opponent's facing?
Yeah, like, does it fire from the champion's north, or is there just like a straight up, like, it always goes this north?
It's always, this shape.
Yeah, it'll be one of those Diana things, where is it this crescent at all times, or is it always this crescent? So, I guess we'll see. I think that burst of speed thing is very good. It's his chasing tool.
Yeah.
And depending on how many guys you mark, you might be able to really take advantage of that. Just going, bang, burst of speed, burst of speed, burst of speed. I'm out of here, guys. I wonder if they stack.
I don't know. It depends on the cooldown.
You get it on 2 guys, and you just go pop, pop, and all of a sudden you get like 50% move speed. That'd be crazy.
I think it might. It all depends. I haven't seen any of that stuff on the PvE yet, but what do you think? What do you think of the lore?
So, he and his wife, they hate undead. They go and fight him. It's whatever. Then they fight Thresh, and Thresh is like, "Your soul's mine now, woman." And Lucian's like, "Oh no, dude."
And then he starts brooding and
then
joins
the league, and it's like, oh.
Well, this is kind of the stigma we've had earlier of character joins the league, welcomes him because of one character, kind of like Redgar. But the thing about this is, Thresh joined the league to kind of, gather souls, essentially. That was his goal, was to, get the souls and hang out, have a reason to be in the league, get the souls, blah, blah, blah.
Here's what my problem is it's the rapid introduction. I don't mind a champion joining the league strictly for a grudge match. Like, for instance, Victor came out a long time ago, and they introduced Jace as a counterplay. Yeah. Like, almost a year later. That's fine in my book.
Yeah.
But they literally just released Thresh.
Thresh
and
was
they
like
said,
6 months ago.
They said nothing about Lucian and his backstory, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he's here now.
Or built up to it.
Yeah. I mean, why couldn't they have said, he's an enemy of Mordekaiser instead?
Yeah.
Or maybe Mordekaiser and Thresh. I know he talks to Mordekaiser in his voiceover, which is cool. You guys should go listen to it. But it's very focused on saying Thresh specifically. So it feels like it's just like, we can't think of lore that really digs too deep into the ground, so here's some skin-deep lore you can get
Well, the
into.
biggest problem is, again, we don't have any consistent lore base. Only thing we get from lore is champions now. We don't get anything from forums. We don't get anything from, like, a Journal of Justice. It's just, champion comes out, here's the lore. Champion comes out, here's the lore. So we're not getting the lore we want from these champions. So they could have built up stuff like in a Journal of Justice, like a figure has been stalking the league, but only been targeting those of the dark.
He's been killing poor, innocent Yorick ghouls.
Exactly. I thought York was a good guy.
He probably is.
He's a nice guy, but they're undead, so you just every now and again you hear like a sniper rifle go off and just a ghoul drops.
York's just like, well, that ghoul only had like 4 seconds of life left. It wasn't a big deal.
Church just holds up his shovel, just like, come on!
I was farming! But anyway, lore is not terrible, but I just wish they used more established characters rather than just, hey, Thresh came out. This is enemy of Thresh. I'm like, oh. But anyway, interesting skill set. I'll have to see him play before we can say too much about him. He's right on the cusp of being released. It should be any minute now, but we will see. Next thing was the big old patch that dropped. This came with the Master Yi rework and a lot of interesting stuff. Nerfs to certain champions, buffs to others. They're trying to regularize a lot of ADCs. So there's a lot of stuff like that in the patch. A lot of mages they kind of tuned up.
Brand got a buff. I was happy for that. They reduced a lot of cool mana costs.
They targeted mana a lot in this patch, which was kind of interesting.
They really, speaking of mages, they really targeted LeBlanc.
Yeah, they wanted to emphasize using Mimic on more than just,
Q.
Sigil of Silence. And they made Mimic not cost mana anymore. So there's a lot less mana-intense play. So you can be like, okay, I really want to replicate this spell and have it do more, because they changed the way the damage on it works. I suggest reading through these changes, even if you're not really an adamant LeBlanc player, just because it is very interesting, and it's going to change the way you approach her, because just because her sigil's down doesn't mean she's not a threat anymore.
Yeah, because they kind of focus a lot on having her as more of like a very deceptive player where she flashes in using her W and then flash back out. So pop, 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 pop.
Yeah,
Just kind of this in and out
They're
play.
definitely saying, okay, whichever spell is the best for the situation, use that one for damage, not just sigil, which is good.
Because it used to be, when I used to play LeBlanc heavily, it'd be like, okay, I have to make sure I jump in, use my other spells, and then do a double Q. Or lead with a double Q, and then pop in. And,
or use the double to get away.
Yeah.
I mean, there was never a reason to use the Q for the chain. But hopefully there.
Well, there's a few times where one guy was getting away, gets locked up, and then he like flashes away. You come back in and you grab him again. That's the only.
But even then, it might be better to just use your jump to just counter slash rather than the chain.
Yeah.
Either way, much more counterplay options here, and a lot more interesting depth to her character. Shyvana, they changed. They're trying to make her a little bit less competitive in certain aspects, but still be sort of tanky in others. These are kind of long changes. Flame Breath got moved around a lot, and they're trying to change that as her main spell. I mean, they want her to be a melee champion, but still have her be sort of a duelist. I suggest reading these changes fully, but it's kind of interesting what they're doing with her. They're really nerfing and buffing her up. They're trying to make her focus a lot more intense. One of the big things they were bragging about was they changed hit detection on certain AoE spells, especially ones with delay. Things like Brand's Pillar of Flame, Leona's Solar Flare, Swain's Nevermove, and Vaegar's Dark Matter, to name a few. They're trying to make these hit more on time with what the spell displays as and what the effect displays as. So that way something's not hitting and you're going, wait, what? Either way, this is something you kind of got to get a feel for in game. So play around with these guys, maybe do a practice match, get a feel for the new hit detection, and I think you'll be pretty happy with it.
I don't know, like, how could you, like, when a giant ring of fire pops up around you when I'm playing Brand, or like a bright green, like, thing going on if you're Zombie Brand, it's like, how could you miss that? I can understand if you're in the center and he hits you with it.
Yeah, it's not that you're missing, but it's like near the edges, right when the spell goes off. Sometimes it hits when you think it shouldn't have, or it misses when you know it hit.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what this is all about.
That is true. I've been noticing a lot more lately when I do play Brand.
Well, I mean, like, I used to play Vaegar constantly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more infuriating than seeing a Dark Matter just smash into the ground, and you just see, a 2-health Lux walk away without even getting grazed.
And then a rainbow pops out.
You're like, come on.
No, I understand.
She's dead. Give me the AP. They're moving around a lot with the wards, especially changing with the way reward gold is given out. There's a lot of times where you buy an Oracle, so you're hunting wards as the support, and people run by and they steal the last hit, and you're like, but that's my ward money. I need that to pay for my expensive tastes.
Yeah.
Now you get partial reward gold for it, even if somebody else kills it. It's a definite boost for them. That applies to both Oracles and Vision wards.
So the ward wars in the bottom lane is the main thing they were talking about, is that, and I've noticed this playing a support, is that sometimes you're not there to, you place down the pink ward, but they place down a vision ward and they don't know it, and then someone else walks by and takes it, like especially the jungler. It's like, that's the money I need to recoup so I can get more support items so I can keep you guys alive late game. It's like, if I can't recoup the cost of these wards, it's going to be very painful late game.
And most people don't even bother to explain that. But another big change, Oracles now persist through death. Only last 4 minutes now instead of 5.
I'm okay with that.
And they also nerfed the range by about 150 units. You really got to be right on top of somebody.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool stuff for wards. They changed around Tear of the Goddess, Manamune, and Archangels. It's a little bit slower to build up charges now. They want to have that to be an in-game, which is good news. For some champions, they're getting it really quick, and bad news for champions that were having a hard time. I know I get Tear on a Blitzcrank, and it is a pain to get that thing to cap charges.
Yeah, sometimes I get it on Yorick, and it's painful.
Just kind of a drag.
Because you don't have enough mana to go through to begin with, so you're kind of like winding up, and it's like pushing a snowball.
Well, that and Blitzcrank's cooldowns are so long.
Yeah.
Like, I have to get a Manamune if I want to cap it out. Otherwise, there's just no way.
Well, I understand.
There's also a couple of changes to other to items. Maw of Memories specifically, they buffed up a lot to make it more appealing. This is, of course, coming on the cusp of some interesting PvE stuff that we'll talk about later, but there's a lot of new magic resist items and they want to make Maul of Malmortius a competitive item in that regard. In general, they're trying to make rune pages a little bit easier. Sorting, dragging, and placing is a lot faster, and the rune combiner animations are a lot quicker. So take a look at that. You can make rune pages with a lot more ease, and enjoy that. Otherwise, nice patch, lots of balance changes.
I'm not really upset about anything.
Yeah, they're kind of going out of their way to make less drastic changes and explain what they're trying to do. So that's been very good. I mean, previously you just see stuff like, Blitzcrank is different now. And you're like, but I like Blitzcrank.
Well, this kind of falls upon after the talks with Morello about the World of Warcraft stuff, and you can kind of tell he's learning by the fact that people enjoy knowing about why stuff is happening. If you just take from other games, it's just like, okay, we're changing this. But Riot is trying their best to explain. It's like, we feel that this doesn't suit this champion, so we're going to change it. Or, Master Yi shouldn't be AP. It's the sign of the times, and he needs a rework. This is why we're doing it. Or,
yeah, I mean, this contrasts starkly with some other games I've been playing. Like, I've played a War Thunder game. It's a simulator, but it's made in Russia, right? So their PR's not great. So, like, when they do a patch, like, literally, this is what their server note said. It said, "We installed patch now." It's like, oh. So it's really nice to see that, this sort of mature game company that a lot of people play, we're getting a lot of feedback. Because, like we said, we have a ton of red posts this week. We got this. It bodes really well.
Well, they respect the players, and if they keep the players informed, they'll be like, okay, so that's why something happened. And since LCS is wrapping up and Season 3 is almost coming up, it's, they're keeping players in the loop so they know what's going on, like with the previous patch and what the players are doing to change their play. So just like the next patch, players are changing something different. Like, why is everybody playing this way now? What's going on with that? It's like, well, because of these changes.
There you go. Very interesting. Another thing that came was the Master Yi visual update and rework. This is something we talked a lot about recently, guys, and it's finally in place. We'll kind of go over it real quick. They're making this focus specifically on AD. Things like Double Strike, Alpha Strike, and Wuju style emphasize more on dueling and dealing heavy damage to a champion relatively quickly, while also giving him the ability to convert his auto attack damage into true damage. Meditate is more of a reactionary ability now, rather than something you use to top yourself off. It heals based on loss of health. And of course, Highlander is still its old glory, except it no longer refreshes on kills. However, kills and basic attacks and basic ability cooldowns are all taken down passively by champion kills. So, very good. I mean, it's not old Master Yi, but I think people will enjoy it. The true damage basic attacks on that active are really, really frightening, and I think we're going to see some scary, scary, scary flat AD builds on Master Yi, just because Highlander is mean. But Dunk Master, I don't know.
You'll be missed.
Wuju style only increases attack damage by a percentage, so you actually have to build AD now.
What do you think of the new visual stuff? What do you think of the skin remake?
He looks good.
He looks really good. Assassin Master Yi, it's not just the black version of him. He has like a mask on now.
He has sword boots.
Sword boots.
They still got those
we
sword
have
boots.
We have to keep the sword boots, or else the fans will get mad.
Dude.
I bet if it wasn't for that video, no one would have known that he had sword boots.
Trench coat. It means he listens to power metal. Like we said, there's a boatload of red posts this week, guys. There's a lot of talk about Olaf getting a rework, similar in the style that they're doing with Yorick now. They're just sort of throwing out tentative kits and having everyone look over it. There's a lot of talk about having Olaf have a non-decaying slow and having specific ways to make his passive more powerful while also increasing the healing he receives from all sources. So they want to make things like lifesteal and just sort of dancing on that, 50%, 25% health mark a lot more attractive for Olaf players. And I think that's really cool. That's always been Olaf's playstyle is, I'm going to get more dangerous. I'm going to get more dangerous.
Keep
you gotta
poking
target me. You got to target me. And if you target me, I'm going to eat your mouth. So these are really cool, and I hope to see some of these in the expected rework. Another big topic was Sivir. Sivir is getting close to the pipeline for when she's released. There's a lot of talk about what her actual model looks like, and I assume we're going to be seeing it within the next month or two. Some of the big talks have been, They still want to keep her sexy, but she's got, the muscles, and her weapon doesn't look like a piece of cardboard anymore. So I know a lot of people are excited about that.
Here I come, wobble wobble. It's like when you get one of those like frisbee discs, like the really big ones, and they just. It's like, she has sharpened plastic. Beware.
There's a lot of talk about specifically her pack skin still looking awesome, which it looks awesome. So I hope they keep that.
I wish I was able to get a hold of that skin.
Indeed. And finally, the one of the bigger things people were talking about was specifically who's next in line. And they were talking about, Kassadin and Karthus and Scion specifically, but Scion's probably next. But characters like Kassadin and Karthus are definitely on their list. And one of their new programmers, they're actually talking about his application, his resume to join Riot Games actually featured a Kassadin remake. So that might be something we see very soon. But who knows?
Is this a visual or kit remake?
For Kassadin, I'm not sure.
I would like to see a visual.
For Sivir, it is most primarily a visual update. They said her kit's mostly fine.
Yeah, her kit's fine. I love playing her in ARAM and stuff. I just think Kassadin needs to be like a little bit more HD. Give him some more rounder tubes for his mouthpieces and.
Yeah, I really like the effect of his sword, like how it's like a different whole texture.
It's like when you watch those cartoons and then they have like. You have like the animation, and then they like for textures like clothing and stuff like that. It looks like the characters are moving on like a flat like image, and so like it changes that, and that's what his blade looks like. And I love that style. So hopefully they keep that, and I hope like for like Deep Sea Kassadin, like he actually has like tendrils, and he looks more like Cthulhu.
He's like, I'm all wet. And you're like, okay.
You're wet behind the ears.
Alright, I'm not gonna make this Silence My Daughter joke again. It's overblown.
You overblow it.
Exactly. And finally, there are some bundles that we have yet to mention. These are some things that kind of came up, but we weren't really sure what they were yet. These are all new bundles in the store. There's a Pentakill bundle. There's a Pretty in Pink bundle. Those are all pretty common.
I love how Tarek's in the Pretty in Pink bundle.
Pretty in Pink.
Oriana, Lulu, Hari, Tarek.
And then, of course, there is a big retirement skin box coming out.
Yep, they're going to be retiring 5 skins. I kind of like the fact that they're not pushing them out in like huge waves now. It's just kind of smaller waves.
And they're actually Caterpillar Kog'Maw. I'm surprised it's on this list. It is a beautiful skin.
Jolly Green uses Caterpillar Kog'Maw, and I love that skin. It's so adorable. But I think they see all the better skins from like Butterfly and Firework, and they're trying to ease people more to that, not the red and the green one.
But some of the other ones like Hextech Galio and Molten Ramus. One less fire skin's good in my book. Of course, that means they'll be below their fire skin quota, and they'll release another one, but whatever.
Sailor Gameplank is one I rarely see.
I actually like Sailor Gameplank.
He's
got the Glock.
He's
hysterical.
He looks like just Popeye with a gun.
But it's hard to compete with Special Forces Gangplank.
That's true.
I think that's why they're taking him down.
And then there's Muse Sona, probably the only Sona skin besides the Christmas skin that I do not own, and I don't like it. So goodbye.
You don't like Muse My Tits Sona? Seriously.
Hey, buy me for tits.
What are you looking at? Nothing.
Only you can hear me, Summer. Please stop staring at my breasts.
But why?
But they're going to have these skins available until July 16th, and then they will be removed from the store, and then we'll only see them when they bring them back for special events.
75% off, definitely worth the buy if you're interested in any one of those skins. And finally, there is one last bundle. You know the icons we were talking about
last week? The ones that are costing money to buy. Probably the first ones you have to buy in the store separately without buying like an item in return. Those are going to be on the store. You can get both the EU and the NA LCS bundle for 1,600 Riot points, which is 20% off the regular bundle of the 8 icons. And it's not worth $250 a piece. It's not. I can't.
Well, no. You can get either the EU or the NA for 1,600, or you can get both for 3,000.
Okay, I misread that. Either way, still not worth $250 a piece. I can't.
They're cute icons. I mean, if you really support your team, you'll probably buy one. But I can't imagine needing all 16.
Unless you're that diehard.
Yeah, unless you need to have everything.
Because 3,000 is about $20, $30.
That's about as much as a legendary.
I'd save my money for Udyr at this point. I wouldn't.
Exactly.
But still no skin. Speaking of that, we have the new Lucian skin, and besides that, we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, no, they've been really skin light.
I wonder if they're gonna go like with a big reveal with a bunch of skins here soon.
They might be doing another big theme week, but what holiday would it be for?
I don't think it's gonna be a holiday. I think they're gonna have more of a world event, kind of like how they did with Lulu, which was interesting. Remember how they had the Yordle Day thing, but it was just kind of to celebrate the release of Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
So. But that's pretty much it for news. We've been really talking about
patches.
Oh, yeah,
we've been rambling on. But, guys, we're going to move on to our own section here. Our first question this week comes from Maestra12? I'm sorry, I've not heard
I've never seen this before in my life.
Maestra12, he says, I have returned from vacation today, and I have come with a question. Where do you guys think is a good place for vacation besides Florida? FY, nothing weird happened when I was there.
Well,
really? That Zimmerman case didn't get you? All right. Topical
on a Legal Legends podcast. 97.4 The Breeze.
Oh, jeez. If I had to go anywhere on Earth, that's a good one.
Besides Florida, I rarely travel outside.
Besides Florida, that one section of the Earth.
Well, that's like one of the few places I really want to go back to. Like, I've been to New Mexico a bunch, and I'm not impressed. Texas was okay. I went to Houston. Very pretty, but it's always raining. Always raining, and it's just... You gotta deal with the rednecks. And then California, I was there for a bit, and it's nice, but it's too smoggy. But I'd have to say Colorado.
If I wanted to go somewhere, I would go to Russia if it wasn't so scary. I'd just be afraid to die in that country because I'm an American. I don't know how to deal with situations of stress.
My sister, she went to China a couple weeks back, and she said that it was creepy. Like, she stayed in Beijing, and it was just the slums. And I guess like she was with a school group at the time, and I guess they kept trying to push prostitutes on them.
Right on, dude. I might have to go to China then. Well, guys, we love questions every week. We try to answer one or two every week, especially from handsome men like Master 12. If you guys have questions for us about the show, about League of Legends, about life in general, really, we're happy to answer them. We'll try to field them as many as we can. If you have one for us, please post it in the comment section below. Send it to our email, spasticgaming@gmail.com, or post it on our new Facebook page, which is quite elegant and enjoyable.
We have a contest coming up here soon, so we got to get the video made up for you, and that will have all the information. We don't want to talk about it too much here.
But be excited. I know we've said it was going to be this week, but we lied to you because we're assholes.
Mainly because someone had to sleep in instead of getting to here and recording the show.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, really?
Metaxas.
And Water Elemental.
He's lying to you.
Steam sale's coming up if you want to donate to the show. Kidding.
Metaxas.
Water Elemental.
Nexus.
Water Elemental.
Gig.
Yeah.